I hope this is working. I'm not used to this. Sorry, I'm testing this because I'm not recording on StreamYard. God. Okay. Okay, I hope this works. I hope this sound works. I'm not going to really go on a tangent here until I get somebody in the chat. Wow, I started a lot sooner than I intended, but then again, I did set it up like later at night. All right. Let's see. Top messages. Yeah, all. I'm not a bitch that will only allow certain people to show up in the comments. God, I'm recording this on my piece of shit phone. Hopefully. All right. I haven't got. God, I might have to timestamp this when this is over. Yeah, Jesus Christ. All right. I don't see anything so far. One person's watching. Oh, fuck. Hello, everyone. This is Darth Sinovia here. And, well, this was a long time coming. I hope you can hear me. Just let me know if you can't, because I'm recording this on a different platform than StreamYard. Like, YouTube brought back the ability to do live streams on its own platform, which it hasn't had for a while. So, yeah, I'm basically doing this on my phone. The only reason I haven't done any StreamYard videos in a while is because, well, to be blunt about it, my computer's a piece of shit. It doesn't work. So that's why I'm doing it on my phone, on the YouTube app, on my piece of shit Android. I don't know how the quality of the sound's going to come out. I don't know how the quality of the audio. I don't know if it's clear. I don't know if it's crisp. I can't check it on my phone. So anyone that's watching, just let me know if you can't hear me. All right. Now, I don't want to get to the bulk of this topic until I'm sure that this is working. It wouldn't be a Last Jedi video if it wasn't 2 fucking hours. Okay, you can hear me. Okay. I'm going to have to officially timestamp this when this video is done, because so people who don't want to hear me rambling for the first few minutes could actually get straight to the point. All right. This was a long time coming, doing this video. I'm not even going to call it a rant, because I don't even know what to call this fucking thing. Man, The Last Jedi, what a fucking discourse this movie is. I mean, we're in 2025, and we're still having debates about it. No, I don't think that it reflects the movie's qualities if we're still debating this movie. It's just, there's just certain sections of the Star Wars fandom that refuses to let go, that refuses to move on, and that refuses to just let the conversation die. I mean, there's been other bad products in Star Wars, whether it's a comic or a novel or a video game or a movie, but this movie in particular just won't fucking die. And move on from The Last Jedi, we have to stop talking about it like we are. I just don't get it. I watched the film. I tried to be open-minded this time. So for anybody that is a fan of this film that claims I'm just a hater, that I just hate for the sake of hate, or I'm an idiot, or I'm just a racist because I just don't get it. I understand the film, but I think I understand it better than you do. The Last Jedi, a lot that it does is very superficial. It does have some good things. I'm not going to lie. Visually, it's beautiful. It's a beautifully shot film, and I would argue that it's acted better than your average Star Wars movie. And I'm not going to... What the hell? Okay, I'm not even going to respond to that. But it's betterly acted. It's betterly written than The Force Awakens, so that's debatable in terms of the writing part. At least The Last Jedi, I'm just giving it credit where credit's due. At least it has... I don't even know what the hell this... Okay, this person... I do not know who you are, and I am not going to put up with it. Okay. All right, so, yeah, I'm putting you on timeout. Because I don't know what the purpose of this, and you're derailing the stream. And I'm not going to put up with that. God damn it. Okay, I'm putting you on timeout too. Okay, I'm going to put... Okay, Cornelius, I'm making you moderator, so you can keep track of these people. Same thing with you, Nicole. I'm making you moderator because I don't want to deal with these people that are just there just to cause trouble. Because now I've lost my train of thought. So it's your responsibility to make sure this stream doesn't get derailed. I need it because I'm just one fucking person and I'm doing this on my piece of shit phone. Anyway, I might have to timestamp this again because the whole fucking stream was derailed. All right, let's do this again. The Last Jedi, the controversy around the movie, is no secret unless you've been living under a rock, unless you have not been able to go on the internet or just talk to somebody about this movie. And, well, it's divisive to say the least. As much as I hate this film, I cannot just say, oh, there's no good things about it. There obviously is. There's good things about almost every movie you can find, but The Last Jedi, I think, has a lot more redeeming qualities than The Force Awakens. At least The Last Jedi has a soul. And that's more than I can say for The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker. But we're not even going to get to The Rise of Skywalker. But I feel like the conversation about The Last Jedi that people don't want to have is, why is this movie considered good by those who defend it? And why is this movie considered bad by those who absolutely detest it? Because I don't think either group actually understands why they like this movie or why they hate it. Because everything about The Last Jedi, and I will say this, and I've watched 2 content creators recently that talked about the movie, and they could never talk about it in any way that isn't superficial. Anything that it does talk about or advocate for is very superficial, and its messaging is very superficial. It's like, okay, I want to know something. How is a movie basically written by a fucking shit lib? How is that actually considered something substantial when it comes to something that it says? Like, any messaging that you could look at as positive is completely overshadowed by all the garbage. Of course, I'm not even getting to the negative parts of The Last Jedi because that's going to take up the bulk of this stream. But any positive this movie does have, and I'll get this out of the way because otherwise I'm just going to be accused of not acknowledging what the movie does well. I think the acting of this movie, I think, is done well. I think the performances by the actors, I think, for what they have, for the shitty script that they have, I actually think that they do good with what they have. I actually think Mark Hamill's performance as Luke Skywalker was some of the best acted moments in all of Star Wars. And it was shit fucking material. I think with a better script that isn't a first draft, and a person that actually doesn't have malicious intent, Luke's arc in The Last Jedi could have been one of the greatest arcs on screen. It could have been easily. There are good ideas in The Last Jedi, but every good idea The Last Jedi has is bare about all the bad stuff. Luke's arc in itself, conceptually, it's a good arc. It's compelling. But we don't get much of Luke in The Last Jedi. In fact, when I rewatched the movie, I was surprised how little he was in The Last Jedi. Like, there's so much you could have done with Luke's character, and not much is done. Instead of having the stupid Canto Bite shit in the movie that doesn't really have much to say about capitalism other than, oh yeah, a bunch of rich people bad. Okay, yes, we all know, fuck the rich. But we don't actually dive into how these people got their wealth. Everything it does, it's brief and it's superficial. Now, I'm not going to talk about what could have been in The Last Jedi because I'm not interested in that. I'm talking about the movie as it exists already. I think, as much as I dislike the character of Rey, this is the only movie I feel like she has an actual arc. That's another thing I will say that's positive about the Last Jedi. Rey feels more human here than she does in the previous movie. She actually feels like a real person. Even then, that is undercut by Rian Johnson's misogynistic writing of her. Like, how the hell does she go from, oh, I hate you, to Kylo Ren, to, oh, I'm in love with you, I'll do everything for you. It's like, the movie just goes against all the logic of these characters. And, I gotta resist ranting, because I'm still trying to talk about the positive parts that the film did. I actually think the set design is well done. I actually think the visuals for The Last Jedi are some of the most beautiful we've ever seen in the franchise. And I think The Last Jedi is the most memorable of the trilogy, but it's not memorable for the right reasons. It has some good lines, though, in isolation, like Luke's rebuke to Kylo Ren, which in a better film would have been an amazing moment, but if you have the context of the entire movie, it's just, I don't feel it. Like, Luke's death, I will go on a limb here, wasn't even what I hate about the movie. I feel like Luke's sacrifice would have been a lot more powerful if it was on Crate instead of it being on Octu. If Luke was actually present, you could have had one of the most beautiful death scenes in Star Wars. You could have paralleled Obi-Wan in a way. Like, I just feel like Luke not physically being there just undermines his sacrifice. It just feels like Rian Johnson was just doing everything just to piss people off. He wasn't actually trying to tell a compelling story. And not to mention, it just seems like he doesn't really like certain characters. Like, Finn's character is, oh my God. My poor guy. He gets screwed over so badly, and the only positive thing I will say about Finn in this movie is at least he got a chance to kill his fucking fascist oppressor. But that's it. Anyway, I think this is a mess. Now that the positive things are out of the way, because I can't really think of much, I really did try. There are some other stuff I might talk about that might be positive, but it's so minuscule that it just doesn't really fucking matter. The Last Jedi, years ago, when I ranted about the movie, the video is still up, and my former fans of mine like that video. And hell, some of you may actually, who still watch me, may like that video too. And I started very early in the rant that if you're not a real fan, if you like The Last Jedi. And to be honest with you, in 2025, I'm ashamed of that video. In fact, I've been ashamed of that video since 2019. Actually, I've not liked that video for most of the video's existence. I only keep it there so people can see just how much my views have changed over the years. If you just look at my views on The Last Jedi, and you can see it in real time, I still hate the movie. In fact, I think I hate it more now than I did when it first came out, but I'm more calm about it. I'm more rational about it. Back then, it was just bullshit. And not to mention, my priorities back then are different than they are today. Right now, we're living under a fascist government right now under Trump. Not that it wasn't fascist under Trump the first time. And if you get offended by me being political, for those of you who are hate watching me, fuck off. This is my stream after all. This movie, makes me realize just how irrelevant The Last Jedi truly is on the grand scheme of things. When it comes to which Star Wars media says more about the current world, it isn't The Last Jedi. Now, I'm not going to lift up the prequels in this video because I don't think that's the point. A lot has changed since 2018, and we live in an environment. Of course, this is the internet in general, where your opinions are not allowed to shift. You're not allowed to change your perspective or actually look at things from a different point of view. I understand there are people who've watched me that may like the movie, so I understand that. But I think people's reasoning for hating this movie is completely valid. What made me want to do this rant in the first place, it's not really a rant, is there's two YouTubers that defend the Last Jedi. One of them, don't ask me why I watch her content. I do it sometimes. Jessie Gender about the kind of stories fascist hates. Like one of her segments, she talks about The Last Jedi. And it made me perplexed that you're talking about a film that doesn't really advocate for anything, not except in a superficial way. And instead of talking about Andor, which actually is radical for far more than The Last Jedi is, or even the prequels, she used that as an excuse to talk about The Last Jedi and to basically tear down everything that came before it. I'm just, and then another person, sorry, not misgendering, regardless how I feel about Jessie Gender. Another person, I think his name is Anthony something. I don't remember his name. I do know he's done some videos. When he did a video, I'm glad The Last Jedi ruined your childhood. Even though his video was was one of the better defenses of The Last Jedi, probably the only video I could argue that makes an attempt to defend the film, I actually feel like he all of these videos come short. I'm just gonna ask, and I will ask this. Of course, there's another person that did multiple videos defending the film by critiquing the point of every single person that criticized the movie, at least the big YouTubers. Why do we need to go after multiple people who hate this movie when you can just because let's be real, and I will say this, most arguments against this movie are fucking dog shit. And I do mean that. They're fucking dog shit. And I think anyone that's watching this could fucking agree with me. It's fucking dog shit. Why isn't it every argument that I'll talk about those who defend the movie, but those who criticize this movie are fucking dog shit. It's the same criticisms I've heard so many times to nauseum. It's either oh yeah, it has something. It's because it's woke or SJW, what they used back then. Oh, you have some misogyny here and there. Oh, you're talking about some nonsensical stuff in the lore, which well, I'm not going to lie, I'm guilty of this, but at least with the lore stuff, there's some thing you could argue for, but some of that stuff is just what? And then there's like they complain about certain things not happening, not becoming true. Like they're like, oh, this movie like killed every thing that came before it, or rant about, oh, how this movie destroyed. Oh, my favorite about The Force Awakens, how it destroyed everything The Force Awakens set up. And I do have a question. What the fuck did The Force Awakens set up? The Force Awakens is where all these problems begin. All of them. Everything these people hate about The Last Jedi started with The Force Awakens. Like, The Force Awakens was the first Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith at the time that it came out, and the first movie that took place after Return of the Jedi. So you had 30 plus years since then, and the best thing you could have fucking done is just retell A New Hope. Rather than tell a new story from the very start that sets up the rest of the trilogy, you just do this mystery box bullshit. And I'm just going to say, The Last Jedi, most of its issues is because it's of The Force Awakens in the first place. You can't just separate this movie from the rest of the trilogy like the Defenders tend to do, to try to make it seem like it's a far better movie than it actually is. I'm sorry, but if you're part of a trilogy, what one movie does affects the other. And the movie that came before The Last Jedi set this movie up to fail from the very start. No matter who would have done The Last Jedi, it would have sucked. In fact, I don't think J.J. Abrams gets enough hate. I think J.J. Abrams, people suck him off too much. I mean, seriously, why do people not critique The Force Awakens more than The Last Jedi? Because, in my opinion, I think the Force Awakens is so much worse. So much worse. Just tell me how it's not worse. Oh, who's Rey's parents? We'll answer that in the next movie. Who's Snoke? We'll answer that in the next movie. Why did Luke Skywalker leave a map? We'll answer that in the next movie. How did Luke's lightsaber that he got A New Hope and that he lost Empire Strike Back? How did it get found? We'll answer it another time. Instead of actually using Luke's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi, which would have made a lot more sense. But no, nostalgia. Because of fucking nostalgia. Not narratively, it would have made more sense if it was Luke's lightsaber that Rey found in The Force Awakens instead of the Anakin lightsaber from A New Hope. Oh no, we can't do that because of nostalgia. Oh, Return of the Jedi, that doesn't exist. Only A New Hope and Empire. That's The Force Awakens sacrificed the future of Star Wars for nostalgia. What the fuck did anyone expect was going to happen with The Last Jedi? What the fuck did you expect? Now, there are certain things the Last Jedi fucking, I will say, the Defenders get fucking wrong. Like Luke Skywalker acting the way he does makes no goddamn sense from a narrative standpoint. Forget your personal feelings about the situation. Let's just talk about the narrative here. Why the fuck would you leave a map if you wanted to die? There is no lore explanation for why Luke would leave a map if he wanted to die. Obviously, Luke wanted to be found. Why would he give this minor character in The Force Awakens the coordinates to find him in The Force Awakens? In fact, the whole fucking plot of trying to find Luke in The Force Awakens was a terrible idea to begin with. That stupid fucking plot in The Force Awakens is what set this trilogy up in the first place. Because you have someone like Rian Johnson and who's like, this fucking sucks. And I'm not defending Rian Johnson here, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Yeah, it fucking sucked. This whole stupid plot with the fucking mystery boxes, not answering any questions. You didn't have to answer all of them. You could have answered some of them. It fucking sucked. So, yeah, of course he was going to go his own direction because it fucking sucked. And Rian Johnson apparently is not a fan of doing trilogies. So, yeah, of course he was going to fucking ignore all that shit or just only expand upon the stuff he found interesting. Which it was within his right if he, regardless how I feel about it. The fact is, any good thing in The Last Jedi in its script could have easily been ironed out had it been revised multiple times. But again, that's what could have been, if, should have, whatever. The very fact is, The Force Awakens is where all these problems start. Everything. From the stupid mystery box bullshit to like, oh, why is the galaxy in the same state that it's in at the start of A New Hope? Why has nothing changed? Oh no, we can't talk about the politics of the galaxy. Oh, we cannot even learn about what's going on in the wider galaxy, even though A New Hope has multiple scenes that give us an indication about the wider galaxy. The Force Awakens was a brainless action movie. Just like the Rise of Skywalker, which also another brainless action movie. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi, as bad as this movie is, at the very least, it has more substance. With a better director, if The Force Awakens wasn't such a piece of shit like it was, if The Force Awakens actually was written by someone that was a competent writer in the first place, and then The Last Jedi did everything it did, I think The Last Jedi would be bitterly received better if the whole fucking trilogy was planned from the very start. Instead, we have movies that don't feel like they connect with each other. Like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, it's like trying to make a square fit where a circle should be. It's just so stupid. It really is fucking stupid. God, I barely talked with The Last Jedi, and I'm fucking not even freaking 30 minutes into the video. Jesus Christ. The opening scene for The Rise, sorry, these movies keep, I'm sorry, the sequel trilogy, they all blend in together, to be honest with you, so I'm sorry if I get I'm scattered brain about it. The opening scene of The Last Jedi, the only thing I'll say that's positive is I think the action sequence for the opening scene, I think, is well done. It's just too bad it's not in a better movie. And it's certainly too bad that we have a cringy scene where Poe is just making a joke. And that's another thing I'm just going to say about this movie. Another thing that undercuts the tone of this movie. It's supposed to be dark, yet it has humor where it doesn't belong. I'm not saying Star Wars doesn't have like comedic moments. It always has. I mean, it's fucking Star Wars, for crying out loud. But the way it does it is it's so cringe. Like, this isn't Star Wars. Like, there's multiple moments in the Last Jedi where I feel this way. It's like, oh wait, this movie feels like Star Wars. This feels like something I would see in a Star Wars movie. Then you have this stupid moment of Poe making a joke, making a mama joke to freaking Husk. It's like, this is not fucking Star Wars. How the hell is this movie well received by critics when and okay, I'm just gonna say this. They were paid off. Because if this shit were in any other movie, critics would professional critics, you know, those film snobs that actually don't like most movies, they would basically slam The Last Jedi for this. I'm convinced that many people that like this movie were paid. Because the very fact is, you have stupid moments like this, which undercuts the tone of this movie, which in any other film, it would have been slammed by critics. It's like there's no consistent tone in this movie. And we're in the first act. When you get to the first act, the very first scene, it's played off for a joke. Even though you have a serious moment, you have the resistance fleet fighting for its life, trying to get out of an impossible situation, and you have a stupid fucking joke. Like, there's no consistency. The Force Awakens, as bad as that movie is, at least it knew when not to have a fucking dumbass joke that undermines the scene. It's fucking ridiculous. Visually, it looks beautiful, and even though this is a little bit ahead, I will say this. One of the biggest things that I think is bullshit about this movie is it's trying to sell us that Poe was wrong doing what he did in the opening scene of The Last Jedi. And mind you, I do have a question. What the fuck would have happened had Poe not done what he did with that cruiser at the beginning of the movie that had the ability to easily destroy the resistance ships? Had Poe not done what he did at the very start of the movie, and I'm saying this, everyone in the resistance would have been dead before the halfway point of the movie. When they were knocked out of hyperspace, they would have all been dead because they would be defenseless. And that's why I'm saying this movie undercuts its own themes by having dumbass decisions being made just for the sake of the plot. Poe made the right call ignoring Leia when he destroyed that star cruiser that could kill starships. He made the right fucking call. And I'm going to go on a limb here and said, Poe, in that scene, he did nothing wrong. He did what you should do in a given situation. And the very fact that Leia slaps him for that, despite the fact she's done similar things in her time in the rebellion, that she has experience fighting against a fascist empire like the Galactic Empire, and you have to do what you have to do to survive. And leaving a dangerous weapon that could destroy your fleet is strategically stupid, and she just slaps him. Like, Leia acts completely out of character in this movie. It's character assassination. Leia would never talk down to Poe like that. If you wanted to have that same effect, you could have had Poe be more arrogant, do something that's extremely reckless. Instead, that would make sense for her to reprimand him and demote him, but not doing something reasonable as saving the Resistance fleet from a ship that could kill every single. Oh my god, I feel like I'm getting dumb. Like, well, that's the problem with this movie. I don't think Rian Johnson understands a fucking thing. Forget Star Wars, and you have people that defend this film that say, oh, Poe was completely in the wrong doing what he did. How? How is he in the wrong? Trying to keep the Resistance alive. If it weren't for his actions at the start of the movie, everyone would be dead. This is what I'm talking about, that Rian Johnson, like, he had a good idea of a conflict, but because it's a first draft script, none of these good ideas, none of these tension that you could have had in the movie came to fruition in the way that it could have, because it all comes off as fucking dumb. Everyone is acting stupid. Leia acts stupid. Leia completely acts out of character. No way would even Force Awakens Leia would never treat Poe the way she did. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not saying Poe did do some things wrong, but he only did something wrong because the plot required him to. Oh god, it's so stupid. And then you get to Luke Skywalker when you see him at his first scene of the movie. You have him just throw his father's lightsaber nonchalantly like it's nothing. It's like, what? Like, Luke would never do that. Like if Luke was disillusioned with the Jedi, he would never throw the lightsaber like that. It's like it just feels like Rian Johnson just did it purposely just to anger people. It just seems like Rian Johnson had it out for Luke Skywalker in this movie. Like his very first scene, he just throws his lightsaber. If it was Luke's own lightsaber, that would be one thing, because it would remind him of his past and he's trying to run away from it. If it was his own lightsaber, I could see that working. But it was his own father's lightsaber. A lightsaber that he had not seen. And now, I'm going by the movies themselves. So I don't fucking give a damn what the canon books or comics say. But as far as we know, as the audience, it was 30 years since he's seen that lightsaber. I don't see Luke throwing it like that, even if he is disillusioned by the Jedi. Now, I'm not going to suggest what I would have done differently, because that would have been too goddamn long, this video, but he could have done anything else. He could have just given Rey back the lightsaber. He could have just walked away with it. Anything. But just throw the damn thing. It's cheap. It's just a way of, oh, you actually thought they were going to have a conversation? Well, too bad. It just seems so petty and vindictive. It's like there's so many moments in this movie that feels petty by Rian Johnson. I have no issue with Luke Skywalker now, since I've spent many years, I could distance myself from, since I've not been in the fandom for so long. Him doing what he did. The problem was the execution. Hell, there's some scenes at this point in the movie that really humanizes Luke, that are cut. Like, did you know, and I'm saying this for those who have not seen it, of course, this is included in the novelization. Luke actually grieves for Han. The very fact is, we don't actually see him grieve. We don't see any human moments of Luke Skywalker. A lot of the human moments we have from him are not in the movie. Like, he's just this grumpy old man. That's it. He's a broken. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the very fact is, it just seems contrived. Not to mention, the Luke acted the way he does, apathetic towards helping the Resistance or his own sister, just seems like out of character. And I've heard many defenses, oh, Luke is doing the most difficult thing, not getting involved. My dude, it is his responsibility as a Jedi, since he helped train Kylo Ren to make things right, and he literally unleashed mini Hitler onto the galaxy. I'm not saying Luke can't go through his own struggles and feeling guilty. He feels like he's going to make things worse. You could explore that. You could explore why Luke refuses, why Luke is so indecisive. Like, I'm going to bring up the EU in this sense. This is one thing that really angers me about those who defend The Last Jedi. They claim that fans wanted an overpowered Luke like he was in the EU, who was always in the right, but which is not what Luke is in the EU. Luke, in the expanded universe, he was into. There were like, what version of Luke are you talking about? In the EU, and of course, these are not the most popular stories in the EU, but I love them because of it. The New Jedi Order series, Luke is very indecisive for most of the story because he's afraid of the dark side, because he was traumatized by the dark side. And it's a legitimate fear if you know the context of Dark Empire. Legacy of the Force, Luke doesn't face his own nephew because he knows he'll fall to the dark side. Like, there's a lot of things that Luke does in the EU, which is beyond the scope of this video, that are very human. He makes mistakes. He's made some critical errors. Luke's entire arc in the New Republic era is letting others help. Him not having to do everything alone. Yet, Last Jedi Luke is considered the more human one, even though it's not fair, arguably, because it is comparing EU Luke a character with like many books and comics to develop his character, but the very fact is it's considered the simpler version of the character is complete nonsense. Not every character has to be like Last Jedi Luke to have depth. He had depth before the Last Jedi, and I'm not even talking about the EU. Like Luke was human before the Last Jedi. That's just one thing I hate about the movie, about Last Jedi Defenders. They ignore the human that Luke Skywalker was in the original trilogy. He made many critical errors. Luke got his ass handed to him a lot throughout the trilogy. Hell, Luke made some decisions that were stupid that would have gotten him killed if other people weren't there to bail him out. Luke made some human choices that were had dire consequences, and we're expected to believe that the Last Jedi is the first time Luke had any sort of depth to him, and that's the thing I really fucking hate about the Last Jedi in general when it comes to Luke Skywalker. They ignore the character development he got in the prior movies, because let's be real, most of these people do not like Luke Skywalker. Most people who defend the Last Jedi do not like Luke Skywalker. They think making him a broken old man is what makes him interesting. And it's like, no, that's not the only thing that makes Luke interesting. Luke was interesting long before the Last Jedi. Like, Luke didn't even have to survive the Last Jedi for his arc to be fulfilling, but it wasn't fulfilling because we barely see Luke doing anything in this movie. Like, it feels like it's just one humiliation after another for the character. And we don't actually see Luke actually act like a mentor. We don't see him acting like a teacher, which is the biggest missed opportunity ever. And I don't fucking care about what some comics says. And I keep bringing this up. I am an EU fan, but I'm talking about The Last Jedi on its own. If I can't see Luke as a teacher in this movie, then it failed miserably. We don't even see Luke acting like a teacher or giving Rey advice that she ignores because she's young and brash. Like, Luke's reluctance to train Rey would have made more sense if she reminds him of himself when he was her age. I mean, there's a lot you could have done with this character. A beautiful relationship between Luke and Rey as like basically a father and daughter like relationship when it comes to being his mentor and student. We were deprived of that. We were deprived of something beautiful because Rian Johnson just wanted to subvert expectations. There's so many other things that could have been done with this broken Luke. And broken Luke is barely a character. We barely get anything with this version of Luke. And anything interesting thing that could have been done with this version of Luke Skywalker, we barely explore it because we focus on some stupid, meaningless side quest like in Canto Bight, which I forgot that it even existed. Because, fuck Canto Bight. Like, it's such a boring subplot. It's like, that's the thing. The most interesting part of The Last Jedi is the parts of Luke and Rey. Because it actually explores the aspects of the Force that we barely see on screen. And we don't see that much of it. I'd argue if most of the movie was just Luke and Rey, we would have a far better film. Not even... And yeah, I sound biased because I'm a fan of Luke Skywalker. But the very fact is, a amazing concept, and I will say this as someone that hates what Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, the broken Luke could have been amazing. We could have had one of the most human stories. Instead, we just got a broken old man that doesn't amount to much. He gets a few good scenes that are well acted, and he just dies. That's it. We don't actually get to see Luke Skywalker actually be Luke Skywalker. We don't actually get into his head. And I'm talking about on screen. I don't care about some novel that may eventually explore like why Luke Skywalker is the way he is in The Last Jedi. I don't fucking care. I'm talking about in the movie itself. You have only one chance to explore this character. Only one chance. And the movie failed to explore this character. And not to mention, Luke Skywalker, his entire rant about the Jedi is so stupid and nonsensical. Okay, I'm nitpicking here. I know some people may accuse me of nitpicking, but hear me out here. It feels like Rian Johnson, an extension, those who defend The Last Jedi or enjoy The Last Jedi or love The Last Jedi without... How the fuck can you come to the conclusion that the Jedi in the prequels were at the height of their power? Where was the Jedi chancellors? Why weren't the Jedi control of the government? If they really were at the height of their power, why don't the Jedi have more say into Republic affairs? Why do the Jedi have to constantly get approval by the Senate? It's almost as if Rian Johnson only read some edgy Reddit posts about the Jedi and just went with it. Like, the Jedi were at the height of their power before the prequels. The whole point of the prequels is it's the Jedi's downfall. The downfall of the Jedi is the prequel trilogy. How the hell can someone who claims to be a Star Wars fan not understand this? No, the Jedi did not let Sidious destroy them. Because they weren't in fucking control of the Republic in the first place. They could have if they wanted to, because they had the power to do so, but they didn't. It's like it's a misunderstanding of what the prequels are, and it's not like Luke Skywalker can't talk to Yoda or his father, because apparently Force Ghosts can appear anytime they want in the canon. It's not like he can't ask them what things were like in the freaking Republic. And I'm going by what this movie establishes. So it makes no sense how the Jedi can be at the height of their power in The Last Jedi when they weren't at the height of their power when Sidious rose. They were at their weakest at that point. Why do you think the Sith struck in the prequels? They would not do it when the Jedi were at their most powerful. It makes no sense. It's like this is, and I will argue this. This is the case where ignoring lore hurts this movie. It makes Luke off to be an idiot if he could literally communicate with Force Ghosts, which he could, and it heavily implied when Luke talked to Yoda at the end of the movie when he was about to burn the text, which they weren't actually there, that they've talked multiple times before. Now, there probably will be an explanation that Luke didn't actually talk to the ghost as much as we think, that his knowledge is mostly based off secondhand sources. But even then, Luke should know better than to assume that the Jedi controlled the Republic and being at the height of their power when they were not. Like, oh my God, the Jedi Order are tens of thousands of years old. At what point do you think they were at the height of their power? At what point? It's like this movie ignores the prequels as much as The Force Awakens. It acknowledges them to a degree. But the very fact is, the Jedi are blamed for their own downfall. Makes no goddamn sense. Yes, the Jedi were arrogant. Yes, the Jedi were complacent. I'm not saying they aren't 100%. They aren't at fault to a degree for their own downfall. But the very fact is, they were not in the height of their power, and it makes no sense for Luke to say some of these lines. And yeah, I know I'm gonna do more nitpicking because fuck it, it's my freaking video. Rey should not know how how Luke was able to redeem Anakin. In fact, she shouldn't even know anything about Darth Vader to begin with, other than him being a Sith Lord. Of course, the galaxy didn't know what the Sith were, but other than just being this dark man in a suit, like she was on fucking Jakku for most of her life. And I doubt news got around. And I'm going by the movies themselves. I'm not going by what's established in a book. I'm going by the movies themselves. There's nothing that stated that freaking she could have freaking heard of this. In fact, she thought Luke was a myth in the freaking Force Awakens. Why the hell would she? How would she be able to know that Anakin and Darth Vader were the same person? How would she know that he saw good in Vader? That shouldn't even be possible. That makes no goddamn sense. It's almost as if the movie was just doing some meta commentary at the same time, and it really is stupid. It's really fucking stupid. Oh my fucking God. It's really stupid. Am I nitpicking? And be honest with me. Because it's a little nitpicking, but I can't help but point out these obvious, glaring fucking facts that anybody could have just fact-checked this freaking shitty script that Rian Johnson, like, whoever wrote it, I don't even care which. I'm done even pretending. It's like, we should adjust this just a bit. But still, it's just stupid. Fucking stupid. Any positive messaging this movie has is completely undermined. Like the scene where Rey is given her first lesson, I think it's a good scene, to be fair. But it's completely undermined like a few scenes later when Luke is still acting like a fucking a grumpy jackass. The very fact is Luke doesn't teach Rey any fucking thing. We don't even see any of the lessons other than the first one. Like, and Luke said he's going to teach her 3 lessons why she shouldn't be a Jedi. I guess you could argue when he talks to her about the Jedi in that one scene, which I fucking complained, which I talked about for like 5 to 10 minutes. That could be the second lesson, but that wasn't anything of substance. Like Luke didn't give any concrete examples of failures of the Jedi. Like moral failing, which, this movie had the perfect opportunity to point out that the Jedi, they weren't as these heroic figures like everyone says they were. Luke could have pointed out every single thing the Jedi did wrong, or everything the Jedi could have done to right a evil, but didn't do anything, or were actually condoning evil. I'm just saying he could have easily just pointed out multiple examples of the Jedi being hypocrites, but he doesn't. It just sounds like a Reddit post, and they expect the audience just to like, yep, Luke is right. Like, okay, Luke, if you're Emperor, Universal Emperor, depending on the canon you're following, Luke Skywalker does rebuild the Jedi Order successfully in the EU, but in canon he makes the attempt but fails. Oh God, I haven't gotten to the elephant in the room yet, and it's not, and which will get there. Holy fucking shit! I'm not even. It wouldn't be a Last Jedi fucking related video if it wasn't fucking a movie length fucking rant. I guess you could say it's a rant. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about the Canto Bight shit because it is like the Canto Bight storyline is the absolute worst storyline in this entire trilogy. Now, let me ask you a question. How much time you could have saved if you just cut this subplot? It adds nothing to the movie. It's a side quest that takes away from other plots in the movie that you could have spent the time we spent in Canto Bight developing the relationship between Luke and Rey. You took away moments that could have been spent with Kylo, developing his character, showcasing like how the effects of the previous movie, like the events affected him, instead of wasting time on a side quest, a meaningless side quest that doesn't amount to anything. They could have just simply just gone to the Dread, whatever the hell, the Snoke ship, and did what they attempted to do. They fail, and you could have just had the same result instead of wasting hours of our time on the most meaningless side quest. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not hours, but still, it doesn't really add anything. You could have removed DJ from the movie, and nothing of substance would have fucking changed. Nothing of substance freaking would have changed if you removed the subplot. You might have to change a few things, but not much. It's not like DJ doesn't do anything really in the movie. He's just in a few scenes here and there, and he has some cringy dialogue, and he just disappears. We don't even know if he fucking dies. And there's not much to say about the Canto Bight like subplot, other than it does some half-ass critique of capitalism. And there's nothing wrong with showcasing the evils of capitalism in the Star Wars universe and war profiteering and child slavery. But I kind of feel like all of this is done a lot better in the prequels. And it's not as so ham-fisted about it. It's like, it just feels like this movie is just trying to say like so many different things, and it fails at almost everything. And it makes no sense. I'm just thinking about it. How would they be able to leave the fleet? I'm just being real with a ship that were they're struggling with fuel, go on a side quest, and then get to Snoke's ship in the short amount of time that they had it. It literally, this movie defines all logic. Oh, it's just a movie. It's a sci-fi movie. Don't think about it. Yeah, that's the problem. Think, don't consume, don't think. It's like this movie's concept of time is just awful. This whole the whole problem with this movie is a lot of it has to do with freaking the B plot. Is like is what hurts this movie completely. It's like, because it just creates a bunch of plot holes that just don't make sense. Because you have all these events happening. It's obvious that Rey's portion of the story takes place in the span of days, maybe weeks for all we know. And everything else takes place in the span of like 2 or 3 days at most. It's like, please make sense of this, please. I beg of you. Oh God, I'm not even going to even say like, oh, how I would have done The Last Jedi, because I would just redo the sequels. But anyway, there's not much more I can say about the Canto Bight shit, except it's awful. It's a terrible storyline that should have been completely tossed out. Like, anyone that thought it was a good idea to even have a Canto Bight fucking subplot in the way that they did, it was just terrible. Like, if they were insisting on having a Canto Bight storyline, something like it, they should not have had freaking like they should have the characters separated from the start. That way, at least it would have made some sense. Like the C plot could have been freaking Finn and crew, instead of just, yeah. Oh God, my issue with Rose in general is, I have nothing against Kelly Marie Tran. I think with the material she had to work with, and it's awful, I think she did good with the material that she had. And I think the character, there was nothing wrong with Rose Tico as a character conceptually. But the movie was overbloated with characters. Court, my main issue though is if there's one thing I would have done differently with Canto Bight, I actually would have given Rose's backstory to Finn. And it would have been Finn that hates Canto Bight because it reminds him of what it did to his family. And Rose was cold and just wanted to get the mission over with. I'm just saying that small change would have greatly improved her character. Like if we're going to keep the Canto Bight segment, we're insisting on it. She's grieving for her sister, and the main thing that she cared about was the mission. She didn't care about the kid. She didn't care about the animal. Her main focus was completing the mission, and it could have been Finn that wanted to smash Canto Bight. But no, we cannot give the black character, and I am convinced it's not just Rian Johnson that's racist against John Boyega. I think it's also like Rian Johnson too. Sorry, no, whatever. You know what I mean. You could have given the black guy to do something heroic by basically destroying property for the rich. You could have fucking had him be the one that do it instead of Rose. And through Finn, Rose starts to care again because she's consumed with grief. Infinitely better character already just by doing that small change. And here's another thing that's really stupid, which I'll get to the very end of the movie. Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm not going to spend any more time on the Canto Bight because it's not an important thing to talk about. Yes, it visually looks nice. I think the sets they look visually stunning. I will give them that. I think in a better film, in a better Star Wars movie, I think it would be one of the greatest, most memorable sets in all of Star Wars. But to me, it's just, ugh. It's ironic that Lego Star Wars, the Canto Bight segment was actually a fun level. Who would have thought playing through Canto Bight would be fun in a video game? For those of you who've never played Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, it was actually fun playing through the sequel trilogy. Canto Bight was actually a really fun level. And yeah, I just figured I'd bring that up because the sequel trilogy, there are some good set pieces that would make good for action, for video game levels. Now, okay, I haven't mentioned the elephant in the room, and it's oh God. Do I really have to talk about Reylo right now because I hate Reylo so much? But okay, no, we'll not talk. We'll talk about Reylo later because Reylo will take up more of the stream. I'm gonna bring up a common thing that Last Jedi defenders and haters bring up: the death of Snoke. Regarding Snoke, I actually think Snoke was a terrible fucking character from the very start. I think Snoke's character design was fucking... It was hard to take seriously. In The Force Awakens, when we knew nothing about Snoke, he had this imposing presence. He had this voice, because, well, he's voiced by Andy Serkis, which, an amazing actor. He had this mysterious presence about him. Then you see him in the Last Jedi, and it's hard to take him seriously, where he's just wearing a fucking golden bathrobe, and he just... Ugh. Snoke, the reason for that killing Snoke was so controversial for it was potential. And and that is one thing I will say I cannot stand about Last Jedi defenders. I never liked Snoke. Well, neither did I. But you know what? We could have done something interesting with Snoke. You could have still killed him, but without doing it the way they did. Like, it was just so. It was almost as if Rian Johnson was just saying "fuck you" to Snoke theories. That's why he was killed off. He wasn't killed off just for story purposes. And it's such a shame. He had a great actor playing Snoke. Such a waste of talent. You could have still killed Snoke and still make him an interesting character if he died in a way that was satisfying for the story. Snoke could have still been powerful. Snoke could have still been an interesting and mysterious character if he didn't die in an undignified way. Because let's be real, he died in so undignified that it was fucking hilarious. That I can't help it. I was laughing after he died. It was Rian Johnson making a comedic moment? Like, you see his expression as he dies. I can't take it seriously because I'm not talking about the lack of a new Jedi Order because I don't think it's relevant to this movie. It would have been one. Okay, I don't mind him dying, like him thinking that Kylo Ren was on his side when he clearly wasn't. You want to know how they could have made his death better? Of course, this also involves Kylo Ren too. If you had Kylo Ren manipulate Rey, fuck this Reylo ship, but actually manipulate her emotionally in order to lure her into to where he would want her. So he would use Rey to keep Snoke distracted in order to kill him because he can't kill Snoke otherwise. That Snoke could have been so focused on killing Rey and thinking that Kylo Ren would be the one to finish her, that Kylo Ren just does the same thing he does in the movie, but instead of doing it in a way that fucking is comical and just saying F you to fan theories, you have a character that dies because of his own overconfidence. There's characters in Star Wars that who are way more powerful that have been killed by those who are lesser in terms of power. You could have made Kylo Ren intelligent, that he knew he would never get out of Snoke's shadow, and he wanted to get rid of him. And the best way is to do it by him utilizing his own skills of manipulation against somebody else. And you could have had the scene with him trying to recruit Rey happen in the same way. It would have been it's a small change, maybe not a good one, but it would have been better than him just dying undignifiedly with no answers. And by the time you get a explanation for who Snoke is, it's like, oh, he's just a clone of Palpatine. Well, that's fucking underwhelming. People who defend the death of Snoke may claim that he wasn't an interesting character, and the problem is he never had a chance to be an interesting character because he was killed before he was fully realized. Of course, this problem, again, starts with The Force Awakens! You see what I'm getting at? I've ranted about The Force Awakens earlier, how The Force Awakens is where all these problems began. Snoke, there's no reason to give a shit about Snoke in The Force Awakens when he just appears in a few scenes of the movie and that's it. The premise behind Snoke is what was interesting about him. It wasn't the character himself, and that's the thing. Last Jedi defenders, they have very different priorities than those who hate the movie. Of course, there's those who, not everyone who's a Last Jedi defender is the same. But those who are the most vocally the ones who defend The Last Jedi are, who defend every decision, good and bad. I think killing Snoke was not a bad idea. It's just how it was done. Because if Kylo Ren's character arc had remained the same from The Force Awakens, I actually think Snoke's death would have been far more satisfying than regressing Kylo Ren to the same man-child that he started off as in The Force Awakens. Ignoring his character development from The Force Awakens. Like, I can't buy that that Kylo Ren could have killed Snoke. I just don't fucking buy it. That this incompetent man-child could have fucking accomplished it. I don't fucking buy it. I don't fucking buy it. If Kylo Ren was a better written character, I do think I would have bought it. And I'm just going on a tangent and say here, I think Kylo Ren is the most overrated character in general regarding the Star Wars sequels. He is not the best written character. In fact, he's the worst written character. Because every single movie this character is featured in, and I will probably elaborate this further in Rise of Skywalker, he doesn't progress. And I'm getting to the elephant in the room here with Reylo. So let's just dive into this this trash fire. Kylo Ren's entire character in The Force Awakens and is where he was at his best in terms of how he was characterized, in terms of his character writing. In fact, I would argue Kylo Ren was not a man-child in The Force Awakens. He was a guy with low confidence. He wasn't as devoted to the dark side. He was a reverse Darth Vader. That is what the original intention behind Kylo Ren was. You can look it up in many interviews, including the ones with Adam Driver. He was originally intended to be a reverse Vader. Because The Force Awakens, like, the question is, will he turn to the light or won't he? And the biggest issue is, let's think about this. Why the hell are we exploring this? Oh, will he turn to the light side or won't he? In a movie that previously already answered that question. No! Kylo Ren killed Han Solo. Him throwing away... In fact, you know what? I think he should have thrown away his mask after The Force Awakens. That should have been the end of his mask in general. He should have never got it back in the Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. He should have done away with it in The Force Awakens, because killing Han Solo was him basically burying his past. That's where his character should have gone. But Rian Johnson, doing everything he fucking does best, ignores that. Ignores all that character development Kylo Ren got in the previous film. Ignores how devoted to the dark side he was at the end of The Force Awakens. Instead, he doubles down on acting like a man-child, even though he actually moved past that. Like, there is no sense of progression. In fact, I should have brought this up in my review when I talked about The Force Awakens. I don't know if I did. There was an indication that he was beyond redemption, that he had chosen the dark side. Like, there's a visual thing in storytelling. You know the scene where the light of the sun was shining on Kylo and Han Solo, and then as soon as that light went out, Kylo Ren stabbed him with his lightsaber? That was an indicator that he had chosen the dark side. And no, I don't fucking give a damn what the novelization of The Force Awakens said at the time, because And I'm standing by this, even though I'm an EU guy. What happens on screen is what fucking counts. And not to mention, the novelizations don't even feel like they're part of the same continuity as the movies. The very fact is he is not fully dedicated to the dark side in The Last Jedi, or at least more dedicated, just makes no goddamn sense. Like, I'm not saying there can't still be some conflict left, but the fact remains is Kylo Ren should not have felt like there was no progression in his character, or little to none. See, hold on. I'm going to read some comments. Yes. Oh, God. It's like The Last Jedi. It's like Kylo Ren feels like a different character. Yeah, I'm recording this on my phone. Just to answer your question, Logan. The Last Jedi just takes place after, not even that long after Force Awakens, and it's just ridiculous. These two don't feel like they belong in the same universe. They really don't. And then we have Rey, which I already said earlier. I think she's the most human in this movie compared to the rest of the trilogy. For those who do not know about Reylo, fuck this shit, but we're talking about it. We have to, because thank you, Rian Johnson. Thank you for canonizing a awful ship, which ruined not only Rey, but ruined Kylo Ren's characters. Now, I never liked Rey, but whatever good things there were about Rey as a character in The Force Awakens is destroyed in The Last Jedi. But no, oh no, we can't have that. Hell, we can't stick to Rey ending up with Finn because I'm a racist, Rian Johnson, because I don't want to have the first interracial couple in Star Wars on screen. Oh no, let's have Rey, for some reason, want to get into the pants of a neo-Nazi. Even though through most of the movie she hates him, and then one scene later, after she dives herself into the lake, she suddenly cares deeply for him. It's like Rey and Kylo Ren have only a few scenes together, and we're expected to believe that they're in love. It doesn't make any sense. It literally makes no fucking sense. And people want to say the Anakin and Padme romance is cringy. At least Anakin and Padme throughout the Attack of the Clones, there's multiple scenes together with them. There's throughout the entire movie, you see their relationship develop. While Rey goes from one scene hating Kylo Ren's guts to suddenly wanting to get into his pants. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck? God, and Luke, like any rational person, doesn't, along with the audience, tells them to stop. And of course, Reylo used as another excuse to assassinate Luke's character. Oh yeah, Luke takes out a lightsaber because Kylo Ren has a bad dream, or Ben Solo, which he was at the time. He has a bad dream, and he instantly withdraws his lightsaber. It's like, what? And okay, this scene where Luke takes out a lightsaber and considers briefly to kill Ben. I've heard so many defenses of this sequence, and to me, it's inexcusable. Rian Johnson just used it as a way to make Kylo Ren more sympathetic, to make it seem like it was Luke's own fucking fault that Kylo Ren fell to the dark side. Oh yeah, it's my uncle's fault that I become a neo, that I basically went into a fascist cult. It's my uncle's fault. It's no choices I've made. It's like Reylo, I hate it because it assassinated Luke's character. It was used as an excuse for Rey and us, the audience, to try to feel more sympathy towards Kylo Ren, a mass murdering sociopath that kills people, that's ordered a genocide against an entire village in the previous movie, mind you. Mind raped Rey, which I don't care. Anyone that could argue with me, the scene where Kylo Ren like went inside her mind, that was rape. He violated her. And yet Rey, fans of the movie just completely ignore it. Despite the fact that like this ship is pure misogyny. The very fact is, like, Rey's character isn't free from misogyny. Like, the misogynistic, like, way that the character is written is disgusting. Like, I don't even like Rey, and I think it's disgusting. She ultimately rejects her abuser, obviously, at the end of the movie, but that doesn't change the fact that the implications, like, it left it open that they could get together, or there could be something between them. It just, like, literally, he had to rewrite aspects of Rey's personality completely in order to justify this shitty ship. And first off, if Han Solo was like this father figure to Rey, why the fuck would she want to save Kylo? Force Awakens Rey would never fucking do that. Like, she never fucking would. I literally hate fucking Reylo. I hate Reylo with a passion. I think Reylos are all fucking a bunch of racist white people that, because, oh yeah, you have these actors that look really good together, so let's ship them. Disgusting. This single action of pushing a ship, that's part of subculture. Mind you, I know what shipping is. I've been part of it for a while. Shipping is usually done in fan art, fan fiction. But to have that infest the official canon of Star Wars completely ruins freaking both characters. Rey is ruined. What good there was about her in The Force Awakens because of Reylo. Kylo Ren is ruined because you turn into a reverse Vader character into like, I don't even know what to fucking describe Kylo Ren. Like some wannabe freaking like character from Twilight. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. I just don't like Reylo. I despise it. It's like the very fact that, yeah, that's true. Kylo Ren has hurt and tortured Rey's friends, yet she wants to save him. That just is so stupid. One scene, she just does a complete 180. Like, it's like, let's do the worst thing you could possibly do. And Rian Johnson did it. It's like nobody told him this would be a bad idea. It's like nobody challenged freaking Rian Johnson on anything. And Reylo hurts this movie too. Like, what the fuck? Like, you could have still had Rey go off on her own if she did it for revenge, because she wants to kill Kylo for what he has done. And she believes she could stop him or something. Anything. Like Rey being controlled by anger because she's concerned about her friends. It's like there's so many things you could have done But no, let's have her go to Kylo Ren, possibly risking the entire future of the Resistance because of reasons. Because she sees into his future that he and Luke rightfully says this will not go the way you think. Oh God, and who is this? I can't even say that. All right. I don't even. All right. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. All right. I'm just looking at something. Oh, I really do fucking hate this movie. And I think Reylo alone, basically, this entire trilogy is Reylo. This sequence in the movie where Rey goes from hating Kylo to wanting to save him turned the entire trilogy into Reylo. It doesn't matter what other themes the fucking movie has. Reylo is the main part of the storyline for these films because of this one action. Yes, you have a good action scene when Snoke was killed. You have a cool looking scene that could be watched in isolation. No need to watch the whole movie if you want to see a well choreographed action scene, but that's about it. Then you have the infamous "Let the Past Die" scene, which basically is the second time we're given, oh, will he or won't he turn back to the light? He again rejects redemption, which is like, this was already answered in the previous movie. This literally has no fucking value. This scene doesn't. And the moment that pissed most Star Wars fans off, and Last Jedi defenders praise as something revolutionary, even though it's not, of Rey Nobody. Okay. Rey Nobody. Rey Nobody. Oh, I'm asking this. I hate redemption scenes. No, I don't mind redemption if it's done well, but that's beside the point. I'll dive into that when I get to Rise of Skywalker. Rey Nobody, to me, neither adds or takes away from her character. Here's the problem, though, with Rey. Most fans, before The Last Jedi came out, did not give a flying fuck about the character. If Rey on her own was a compelling character, I don't think people would react as negatively as they did to Rey being a nobody. But the very fact is, Rey in The Last Jedi, we're given the most human version of the character, but we don't furtherly develop the character because she starts off as a blank slate in every film. So that's the problem. Had The Last Jedi continued on with her character development for the previous film and actually given her an actual arc, did not do this stupid shit with Reylo, which completely ruined her character completely. Her being a nobody, I feel like that's not what I think what would have been devastating for the character. I think Rey, knowing that her parents don't love her and never have, and they abandoned her, that would have been far more powerful than just her being a nobody. That scene, the biggest issue with that scene, it's not that she was a nobody. It's the very fact is, it was doing a meta commentary about her being about her heritage, rather than actually making her face the truth that she's that her parents didn't love her, that she was abandoned, she was sold for drinking money. That's not a bad twist. That Rey was an orphan that wasn't loved. That would have been a beautiful scene. It would have been tragic. It would have been sad. But no, instead, we have to make it about what the fans wanted Rey to be. We had to do a meta commentary about Rey's heritage in the movie itself. That's the problem. It feels like the movie was borderline breaking the fourth wall. And that's just awful. This movie has aged horribly with its meta commentary because it's not telling a story. It's just meta commentary on almost everything that you see throughout the movie. Rey Nobody would have fucking worked better if we didn't do this meta commentary crap. Instead of Rey wanting to know who her parents are, it could be Rey wanting to know about her parents who were, because she wanted because she was abandoned as a child and she had no memory of them. She wanted to know who they were. And the fact remains is doing this meta commentary ruins everything. And it feels like it was just doing a meta commentary, and it has aged horribly because people will not who haven't watched the movie when it came out will understand the context. Because for the meta commentary to work, you need context, and the context is fans cared more about her heritage than the character. I feel like that's what the movie was trying to say, that she doesn't have to be a Skywalker or whatever to be somebody. But that's not. I feel like the whole issue with Rey Nobody, it feels like the people that worked on these films did not understand who Rey was to begin with. And I feel like before they proceeded to go forth with her character arc, they should have asked, who is this character? What does she want? That is what they should have asked first, rather than just writing shit on the fucking wall and expecting it and hoping the next director will pick it up. Because Rey Nobody, like everything else about this movie, are good concepts executed poorly by a director that was more interested in being a divisive director and angering half the fan base rather than telling a compelling story. Because the moment in itself, it was acted well. You could see the emotion in the actor. In Disley Ridley when she said, my parents were nobody. But that's the problem. You have good performances in this terrible movie. And people are just judging it based on some superficial things and the visuals looking beautiful. A lot of this stuff would not be tolerated by critics who actually weren't getting paid. Because why did Rise of Skywalker get poorly received by critics? Because I can tell you, when you pay critics, and I know there are those who think, there is no such thing as critics being paid off. Bullshit. Critics were clearly paid off for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And it shows the discrepancy between the audience and critics. And the thing is, I don't believe the audience is always right. I don't believe as well. Oh yeah, Rey being a victim of human trafficking, that would have been a brilliant twist. Like I said, The Last Jedi is the movie where Rey feels the most human. And it fails miserably at this. I know there are those who hate watch me that are like, why am I praising this movie? I thought you hated it. I fucking do. The difference is I can recognize the missed potential. That's the difference. I recognize the missed potential, but again, I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying this until I'm blue in my face. All of this is the fault of The Force Awakens. There was no foreshadowing of Rey being a nobody. There was no foreshadowing of Rey's parents being junkies. There's no evidence of any of this. There was no foreshadowing. If we got hints here and there who Rey's parents were or weren't, and what we actually see in The Last Jedi, that would have been beautiful. That, like I said, J.J. Abrams is to blame for all of this fucking bullshit. It's The Force Awakens. It is completely at fault. But that isn't. I'm not going to remove this movie. I'm not going to remove Rian Johnson from the accountability here, because he could have still delivered a human story with Rey without doing cringy meta commentary that doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, Kylo Ren, him saying what he did, he wasn't doing it because he cared about her. He's doing it to manipulate her. In fact, this is where you could have gone with the. This is why Reylo ruins Kylo Ren as a character. You could have had Kylo Ren prey on her insecurities. That's why if you wanted to have Kylo Ren slowly get Rey to sympathize with him, or you have him do it throughout the entire movie, not a few scenes here and there, and that's it. You have Kylo Ren actually manipulate her, get into her head, gaslight her. Then you have the devastating reveal. But no, we cannot fully commit to Kylo Ren being a sociopathic monster, because that would require to actually give a shit about the movie that I'm fucking working on. That actually would require Rian Johnson to actually not be an egotistical man-child that was more interested in pissing people off than writing a story that people will actually think about. In fact, this movie could still be divisive in this hypothetical version of the movie. And we like The Last Jedi, the only reason it's discussed to this extent because it's the only movie with any fucking substance. Even if the substance isn't really there that much, at the very fucking least, there's something to talk about. It all starts with The Force Awakens. It all fucking does. And then, towards the end of the movie, I'm not even going to really talk about Crate. This fucking part of the movie is so stupid in many different ways. Now, the line of we will fight for what we love, not what we hate. That isn't bad in concept, but the whole problem with that is, you know how I said earlier in this video that stupid shit happens for no reason because the plot requires it? Like Finn, almost saving the Resistance by sacrificing himself. It's just so stupid that Rose basically crashed her speeder to stop him from succeeding in his goal because of reasons. If it weren't for Luke Skywalker to show up when he did, Rose would have been responsible for every one of the Resistance being killed. It was all done for the stupidest reason. She literally is the reason why almost everyone died. You could have still had them fail without resorting to Rose ultimately undermining Finn. And the Resistance as a whole. It's just so stupid. It fucking is so stupid. Sacrificing Finn would have been stupid. Okay, my argument, it should have been Rose that sacrificed herself instead. And she pushes him out of the way because she's the one, because she thinks that there's the Resistance needs Finn. You could have either had Rose sacrifice herself, because I think Rose could have sacrificed herself, or whatever. Neither one of them had to fucking do it. The very fact is she does it as he was about to fucking save everyone. God forbid we can't have him be a hero in any way. There isn't much to talk about. Then you have the scene with Luke and Kylo. Like, I did mention, already mentioned earlier, there's some good moments that are well acted with Luke. Like showing up, it wasn't really Luke. And you know what? Here's my issue with Luke Skywalker showing up on Crate. It wasn't Luke. It was a hologram. It wasn't. Luke wasn't actually physically there. Like, how much more powerful would the scene have been emotionally if Luke actually died on Crate instead of on Arc 2? How much more powerful would that have been? You could have had the exact same lightsaber duel, just like in the movie, the exact same way, but still have Luke actually die on Crate. How much better would that have been? But no, Rian Johnson did it to subvert expectations because fans were expecting this, but I do the opposite. Like, Lucas still had died, here's the thing. I think fans would have been far more receptive to Luke dying if he at least died on Crate. He didn't have to be cut in half. He could have died like Obi-Wan did in A New Hope. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, we could have, like, I don't see that moment as heroic at all. I really don't. Luke isn't even physically there. This movie already has a bunch of plot holes. Who gives a shit if Luke gets his X-Wing out of the lake in the movie and just uses his X-Wing to fucking get there to help to create and save everyone in time. You could have still have done it. Oh, but this moment is so beautiful. Like, yeah, it's hardly beautiful. It completely undermines it when Luke isn't physically there. He dies a coward. He doesn't actually physically face Kylo Ren. And he dies just by force projecting, which is like, what? Yeah. It's like, Luke's death isn't what was the issue with the movie. It's just how it was done. And I just feel like Rian Johnson was just doing it to be malicious. Like, every single choice he made in this movie, it was not to tell a story. It was just to be malicious. This whole movie is just mean-spirited. That's my issue with The Last Jedi. And it's hard for me to enjoy this movie. It's hard for me to even watch this movie because I feel it throughout this entire movie. It was mean-spirited, how it was done. And you have those who call what Dave Filoni makes is slop. They praise this over all this other crap when it doesn't do anything of interest other than a few things that and it's half-baked at best. Like, it doesn't really matter the positive message this movie pushes because it's ignored in the next movie anyway. And Rian Johnson just completely undercuts it by doing the exact opposite. On the surface, this movie seems to be one of the best movies ever made. It could be. It could have been. But it's not. Like, the backlash against this movie, I think, was justified because just the callousness of Rian Johnson when he wrote this movie, like the disregard for like the Star Wars like mythos when he made this movie, there was no regard. And again, J.J. Abrams was worse than Rian Johnson was. He's just Rian Johnson just finished what J.J. Abrams started. Like, there's a good reason why, to this very day, and I will say it all started with the Force Awakens, but The Last Jedi finished it. Why there is no sequel era content to this fucking day? Well, there is a new novel that was announced, but it's just one new novel. Why the amount of content that takes place in the sequel era is so small? Why is there no sequel era shows? Why haven't we gone past the original trilogy and the prequels? I mean, what does The Last Jedi give us? Like, it doesn't really freaking establish anything of interest. It anything that it could do that's interesting. It's half-baked or ignored, or completely retconned in The Rise of Skywalker. This movie's legacy divided the Star Wars fan base to the point where it's never going to recover. I don't think it will. Like, interest in Star Wars has greatly dwindled since The Last Jedi came out. And those who insist on, oh, Star Wars is alive because of all these projects are being greenlit, it's like, yeah, you're fucking deluding yourself. This movie literally started the decline. And it didn't take long either. The Force Awakens was basically the goodwill of the Star Wars fans. Again, I think it was a fucking shitty movie. Even worse than The Last Jedi. But it killed all the goodwill that was built with The Force Awakens. Was it worth it? And I would argue this movie also helped radicalize many fucking people to the fucking alt-right. This movie was used as a rallying cry. And this movie, had it been a betterly written movie, had the movie actually had something substantial to say, I actually think we wouldn't have as many fucking fascists roaming around the fucking Star Wars fandom now. This movie is just so poorly written, so badly, like, written. Like, fans in general are at each other's throats, and those who defend the film, like, do revisionist history regarding, like, the backlash. I have a video that I recorded about a week or two ago that I haven't uploaded because I just wasn't satisfied with it. But I'll just say what I said there as what I said here. Regardless what these people want to tell you, the revisionist history, not everyone that hated The Last Jedi when it was first released, not everyone was a neo-fucking reactionary. Not everyone was Jeremy Griggs of Geeks and Gamers or Neurotic or Doomcock or any of these fucking grifters. Most of the people who reacted negatively to The Last Jedi were normal fans. And mind you, the negativity, I would argue, with The Last Jedi was not as big as these people claim it was. It was blown out of proportion. People, for the first time, and we haven't had it since then, we're having a serious conversation about Star Wars, about the direction of Star Wars, on where the franchise should be going, or criticizing the current direction. Before The Last Jedi came out, and I will argue this until I'm blue in my face, and you people can get fucked. You're wrong if you disagree with me on this. There was no room for disagreement in the Star Wars fandom. There was none. Toxic positivity was a huge component before The Last Jedi. You weren't able to voice your skepticism without being labeled as a hater. You weren't able to voice that you don't like the new direction without being labeled as a racist or a misogynist. You weren't allowed to simply have an honest discussion. Conversation was never allowed to be had. It was shut down. And for better or for worse, The Last Jedi opened that conversation. And Pandora's box has never been allowed to be closed again. And I don't know. Was it worth making a movie like this that's so as bad as The Last Jedi, that doesn't really have anything substantial to say, and radicalizing a lot of young men to fucking fascist ideas, when a better film could have conveyed its messages a lot better had more time and put into its script. I don't know. I'm not going to go as far to say that The Last Jedi is helped the rise of the fascist movement. It's a combination of multiple things, but there was no denying that when The Last Jedi came out, there was a fascist undercurrent that was like rising, and it was becoming more and more open. Like, and I think The Last Jedi enabled some of the worst people imaginable. But there's also another caveat that those who defend The Last Jedi refuse to ignore. There is a lot of people who defend The Last Jedi that are ableistic and racist to people who don't like the movie. So The Last Jedi defense squad, I'll just call them that, forget it, I'll just call them what they are. They're not necessarily innocent. And I'm going to go take it a step further. It wasn't Last Jedi haters that drew first blood. It was Last Jedi defenders that did that. It was Last Jedi defenders that wrote the articles slandering everyone that didn't like the movie, called everyone a racist, or insulted people's intelligence. Oh, this movie's too smart for you. Basically, this condescending and ableistic bullshit they say about every fucking bad film. Oh, wait, isn't it interesting? Okay, isn't it interesting that the same kind of people, and I will compare these two movies. Is it funny how the same kind of people that defend The Last Jedi are the same kind of people that defend fucking, Batman v Superman, and that if you don't like either one of these movies, you're just too stupid. You don't understand the intellectual genius of Zack Snyder or Rian Johnson. I don't distinguish a difference between the two, because it's kind of funny just how similar fanboys of Batman v Superman are and The Last Jedi. It's so funny just how similar they are. They have the same kind of arguments. They're both bad movies. They both are poorly freaking written. Though, to be fair on The Last Jedi, is at least betterly acted and directed. But to be honest, it appeals to the same kind of fucking people. They both fucking feel like they go on forever. They both are full of plot holes. And it's just interesting. It's just these people that attacked the majority of the fandom for not liking the movie, and it is a majority. I don't care what Last Jedi defenders say. Most people do not like this movie. You would not be seeing a decline in interest for Star Wars overall if The Last Jedi didn't kill people's interest. And it's nothing to do with the I'm not going to say the fandom had anything to do with it. It's just people saw a really fucking bad movie and they didn't want to see the next one. Is it any coincidence why Rise of Skywalker struggled to make $1 billion? And mind you, you could say, oh, these are the highest grossing movies of all of Star Wars. If you adjust for inflation, it really isn't. The only one you can argue that the only ones you can argue that are objectively of success are The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, because they made buttloads of money. Because there's other costs that are never discussed, like advertising costs. There's other sorts of other stuff regarding budget that are not openly discussed. And the very fact is, I don't think Rise of Skywalker was that successful. If it was, why hasn't there been a Star Wars movie greenlit for years? Why do we have to wait until next year for the next film? It's obvious. The Rise of Skywalker did worse than they expected. It was a disappointing box office. You could look this up easily. The Last Jedi was the last time Star Wars as a whole, the movies, were a financial success. I hate this film, but it was a financial success. But in terms of the online discourse is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And The Last Jedi has contributed to that. To this very fucking day, whether you like this movie or you hate this movie, you still have people arguing over this film. And I just feel like if we truly are going to move on from The Last Jedi, if we're truly going to move on to bigger and better things, I feel like, and I'll say this to those who hate this movie and those who love this, who are fans of this movie, it's time to let the fucking past die. It really is. It's been almost 8 fucking years at this point, and we're still debating about this movie. Like, the sequel trilogy as a whole has become culturally irrelevant. And it kind of seems like those who like the sequels, or like some of them, are trying desperately to keep the sequels relevant in some way. And they don't like the fact how the prequel trilogy has had a resurgence in the late 2010s thanks to this movie. Yes, if there's one thing I am thankful for about The Last Jedi, it shut the fucking Gen Xers up once and for all, and these fuckers were forced to step down. Because it's Gen Z and millennials that are fucking in charge now when it comes to Star Wars discourse. And you want to know what I think? The sequel trilogy, time has already judged them. These films will not be loved like the prequels were. The Last Jedi, the only reason it's the most discussed movie of the entire prequels saga, or sequel, sorry, the sequel saga, is it's the only one you can have an actual fucking discussion, because everything about the movies after and before, like the Last Jedi, is superficial. Like The Force Awakens. What the fuck is there to discuss in 2025 regarding The Force Awakens? It's a movie that aged like milk. It doesn't even feel like a movie at all. It just feels like an advertisement for the movies that will follow. It doesn't actually have a plot, really. Its plot is just finding fucking Luke Skywalker, which gets ignored in the next film because I don't want to be found. Then why the fuck did you leave a map, you fucking asshole? It's like, fuck, like these fucking people. Seriously. And then, like, you have, like, the aesthetic, which people don't fucking like that much. Like, the First Order aesthetic, I'm okay. If you like the aesthetic, I'm sorry, but I think it's fucking shit. It's boring. It's like, it's just, everything looks so clean with the First Order. With the way their designs look, the way the stormtroopers look, the way the ships look. It's just the original trilogy with a new coat of paint, from the X-Wings and the TIE fighters. It's hard to distinguish between the original trilogy and the sequels, except the original trilogy kind of has a more classic sci-fi look to them, because at least it doesn't look... It looks more natural. The sequels are too fucking clean, is basically what I'm saying. It has this plastic look to it. And when you just look at it, The Force Awakens has aged horribly. The Last Jedi doesn't look as plastic looking as The Force Awakens, but it still has a plastic looking look. And the good qualities of the film are overshadowed by the bad qualities. And freaking, I'm really sick and tired of this film being put on a pedestal by people that... Look, I'm just going to say this. If you like The Last Jedi, you're a fucking shit lib. You're highly likely a shit lib. Or if you're not, you likely see this movie as a guilty pleasure, which I don't blame you. There are some things about this movie that are okay, that are enjoyable enough if you like a movie that's so bad it's good. But this movie doesn't even have that. It's like, it's shit libs that normally like this movie. Like, these people I talked about earlier, they're fucking shit libs. Well, one of them is extremely, especially as a shit lib, that talks about just how revolutionary this movie was, or it did something so different. At least it tried, and hates the new current direction of Star Wars because they think it's slop because it's tried too hard to please fans. It's like Dave Filoni doesn't fucking make slop, you assholes. It's like, just, yeah, you know what? I'll just say it. Fuck you. Not everyone that hated The Last Jedi are a bunch of neo-reactionaries. There's a lot more people than you think that are left-leaning that hate this fucking movie. The difference between a left-leaning Last Jedi hater and a right-wing Last Jedi hater is left-wing Last Jedi haters, we're the fucking minority. And not to mention, we don't fucking make it our entire personality to hate a fucking movie. That's the difference between us. We're not the same. Left-leaning freaking Last Jedi haters are not the same. Hell, if you talk to someone enough, and even your own fucking communities, they don't like the movie either. They have basically become indifferent because this movie in general is okay, it's all right. Like, most people that, if they don't outright hate the movie, they think the movie's okay or the movie is average. Like, Last Jedi defenders just don't fucking get it. They refuse to get it, and they don't want to get it. Not everyone that hates this movie is a fucking right-winger. I'm sick and tired of this narrative still being pushed almost a decade later about everyone that hates this movie is a racist or a misogynist. When that's as far from the truth. There's so much better fucking films that we could be talking about, that we could be defending, that we could discuss. Like, the very fact is, why is it that we're not discussing, like, underrated films like Blade Runner 2049? That movie is a fucking masterpiece, an underrated fucking modern day classic. Yet, we're gonna fucking talk about this piece of shit? Like, we have underrated fucking classics right now that have not been discussed in any depth by fucking reactionaries or fucking libtards. Yet, this is the movie we're choosing to fucking die in the hill on? This is the movie we're dying on the hill on. We're not going to discuss the merits behind, like, other forms of art that are overlooked, that actually talk about some of the same things The Last Jedi does, but does it fucking better than The Last Jedi. Like, Andor doesn't fucking need people defending it. Andor can speak for itself, and I intend to see that show. But of course, positive videos won't get the same reaction as a video like this. Like, I know deep in my heart, this stream that I'm doing will not get the same attention as my original Last Jedi rant. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it is. But then again, when you're left wing and you get so suppressed by the algorithm that they're not gonna fucking advertise this video to those who are like-minded, because most people who hate The Last Jedi, who are the most vocal about it, are overwhelmingly right-wing. It's sad but true. But I'll say this, though. I have yet to hear a coherent defense for this film that doesn't resort to tearing down everything that came before it. Now, I hate reactionaries, but I've seen reactionaries critique The Last Jedi far better than those who defend it. I'm not talking about, like, awful fucking people like Mahler who spends 10 hours or so tearing down someone's video or tearing apart a movie when you could fucking easily just do it in a freaking hour video or 2 hours. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about people that may lean right politically, but actually go into depth why this movie does not work. From the writing, from like the plot holes the movie has, the inconsistencies in terms of its characters, like, The Last Jedi, the only reason that this movie is still defended to this day, because these people can't let it go. I would like to move on from The Last Jedi. I feel like people who continue to defend this movie are salty that the Star Wars that they wanted is not being made. Join the fucking club, Last Jedi fans. And I'm fucking serious. Get the fuck over it. Get over yourself. Get the fuck over yourself. As someone that's been a fan of the EU, and I have come to terms long ago, that version of Star Wars is not coming back. It will never come back. And the closest thing I could get to that is watching stuff that's currently being made that caters closer to my taste. Last Jedi fans, have you considered that Star Wars just isn't for you? That Star Wars may not appeal to you? That you want Star Wars to become what it's not? Have you considered that? Have you actually considered that? Have you actually considered that maybe Star Wars as a franchise has never truly appealed to you? Have you considered that? That's my advice to Last Jedi defenders. Don't hate the current direction of Star Wars because it doesn't appeal to your fucking taste. Because Dave Filoni does not make slop, and I've heard that he makes slop by the very person that did that video I talked about earlier about. I'm glad The Last Jedi ruined your childhood. He doesn't make slop. He just doesn't make the kind of Star Wars that you like. Star Wars, whether you like it or not, is a family saga. Whether you like it or not, is an interconnected universe. And if you don't like that, if you don't like all these shows connecting, and mind you, my issues with Filoni are not all these shows connecting together, or it requires you to like watch Rebels and shit. It's like, I don't fucking mind that. In fact, the very fact is Dave Filoni respects his audience. He respects the people that actually put their time and effort to watch all this. As an EU fan, I don't like what Filoni has done, did to the continuity of the expanded universe when it was canon, but that ship has already sailed a long time ago, and I could still read my favorite EU stories without even thinking about the Clone Wars. If I could eventually just move on from all this, I think you can too. And honestly, if you can move on from The Last Jedi, the reactionaries will stop talking about it. Stop putting fuel to the fire. I may be called a hypocrite for doing this by you people who love this movie for some reason. But you know what? The Last Jedi, the discourse, it's time for the discourse for The Last Jedi. Whether you're a reactionary that hates the movie, or a left-winger like me who hates the movie, or Last Jedi defenders, it's time for Star Wars to heal completely, for discourse around The Last Jedi to end. Let it go. Let it die. Let the past die. Let The Last Jedi die. And that is the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm going to repeat myself after this. May the Force be with you, and oh God, next time I'll be talking about the worst of the sequels, The Rise of Skywalker. Fucking Christ almighty. Later.